I have had many hoses on the show. As you know, they're all good hoses. But then I was introduced to HydroSteel. And I was like, what makes this one so much better? Well, first of all, it's almost impossible to kink it up, which a lot of our hoses do. But this is the only one that has that incredible 3-layer design. The interior has your tube, your rubberized tube, to hold your water, all right? Then it has a 304 stainless steel mesh cover that's flexible over the rubber on the inside. And then they put that industrial jacket on the outside, which is also flexible, so that again, you can tie this, but you can't make a knot. You're not gonna get that disruption of water, okay? We're also giving you 2 sprayers. We're giving you the fireman's sprayer, and we're also giving you a 7 pattern sprayer to go along with it, okay? You have your choice, 75 feet, that just sold out, even before I got to it. Dang. Well, guess what? That's not a bad thing, because you can always make a long hose shorter, but you can't make a short hose longer. And I would encourage you to get the 125 foot anyway, because you don't want to be connecting 2 hoses if you just happen to be short. Like I said, you can always coil it up a little bit. But all those are our weekly deal drop prices. We dropped the prices by $20 on each one of these hoses. 3-layer design, ultra performance garden hose. Feel free to leave this out in the wintertime. Flexible, you don't have to worry about it cracking. It's not a rubberized exterior hose. It's got that flexible jacket. I also love the fact that I can coil this up very easily. How much hose is this right here, Lou? Do we know? It's a 100-foot hose right here. Can you do this with a 100-foot of rubber garden hose? No way. This would be 25 to 50 feet of rubber garden hose. Let's get Lou back at her. Lou Caputo, our expert everything.
Hello, guy.
Indoors, outdoors.
Why,
Let me tell you, when I made the change, I bought a hose, an infomercial hose.
Yeah.
3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it was good for a while, and then it burst.
Oh, was it the expanding kind?
One of Danny's friends was washing off their surfboards after surfing.
Yep.
And left it on.
Oh.
And the only reason I knew is I got a really large water bill, and I went out to the backyard because I hadn't used the hose for 2 weeks. I'm like, wow, water bill's like $100 more. It was burst and it was running, just running. This is burst resistant,
this one can't
corrosion resistant. You're not going to have any of those issues.
Right.
Last call on the 100 and 125 foot. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. So yeah, this hose is unlike any hose you've ever used before. Now, we've all seen the expanding hoses, which is what Guy was just talking about. And those just have a rubber hose on the inside, and they're prone to bursting. You know, we've seen the rubber hoses that are easy to kink. Like I could take this rubber hose right here and do this with it very easily, okay? That water is not getting through that. I've stopped the flow of water there. But if I take our HydroSteel hose and try to do the same thing, and folks, I am really grabbing this. I'm really trying to squeeze that. There's no way I'm gonna stop that. And that's the thing about your HydroSteel hose. You can't kink it, you can't crush it, and you can't cut it. Speaking of which, I want to show you a quick demonstration with that, okay? So on the table in front of me here, I've got this nice piece of concrete, and we've got our rubber hose, we've got a saw here, okay? So I'm gonna take my rubber hose, I'm gonna set it down here. You can see it's got cut marks all over it. I've cut through this thing so many times. But we all know what's gonna happen. You're dragging this around the yard, it's rubbing against the furniture, your fence, things like that, and voila, we've got a nice little hole in there, okay? If I take the HydroSteel, though, and do the same thing, I'll put that down in the same place, right? Now, this hose has 3 layers on it. There's that rubber layer on the inside, there's steel windings, 304 stainless steel, and then there's this fabric coating on the outside. And I'll tell you why they did that in a minute, but watch this. I'm gonna cut through the fabric like this, or did I? All it did was kind of mess with the windings on here a little bit. But the jacket, but look at this. It didn't even go all the way through to the steel. That's what's so amazing about this, and the quality that you get this. Now, the thing is, Guy, a couple years ago, we used to have a hose we called the Bionic hose, which I absolutely love. Good hose. All over the place. Good hose. Yep. It was all metal on the outside without any fabric coating on it. Here's what we found out about that. When you drag that around in your backyard, if it goes up against the side of your house, it's going to scrape against the side of the house. It's going to scrape against your lawn furniture, your fences, things like that. And if it's something that's painted, it could actually pull the paint off. The fabric on this makes this slick. So when it goes around all these surfaces, it's not going to do any of that. It's an improvement.
Yeah, and we'll show you. We have an animation
Oh, this is amazing.
that we wanted to show you. Lou, you want to take us through it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what I was just talking about. So there's the inner layer there. It's got a plastic inner layer that goes all the way through. It's actually a rubberized, clear rubber that's going through there. Then you've got the stainless steel, 304 stainless steel
kind of like the
windings.
Bionic hose.
Kind of like the Bionic hose. And then we've added that extra abrasion-resistant fabric on the outside. Now, the last thing that we showed there, Guy, and this is the weirdest thing. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate different things.
Yeah.
This right here, the handle on this is absolutely massive. It is mated to this aluminum fitting on the end of this, but here's why this is so cool. You ever have that problem where you got like your for instance, like one of these on the end of this here, your spray nozzle, or maybe this is like attached to the bib of the house. You can't twist it.
No.
When you've got this big handle on the end of this, now you've got all the torque in the world. So if you've got arthritis, if you've got mobility issues with your hands, like mine, I just can't grip as much as I used to, you can twist this right off because it's got that on there. So it's very, very comfortable.
Makes it easier to put your attachments on there.
Makes it way easier to put the attachments on and to take them off. So that's simple. Now, the other thing, and this is a huge point for a lot of people out there, I'm going to walk over to our scales over here, okay? What we've got going on over here is I've got 100 feet of the HydroSteel hose over here, and then I've got 100 feet of a regular garden hose on the other side, okay? A rubber hose that everybody's got at home. Here's the thing. If you look at the scale, there's about a 4-pound difference between the two of them. Think about that for a second. It doesn't sound like a lot, okay? But when you fill this with water and you're dragging it across the grass, that 4 pounds is about to be everything.
It's all weight.
It's a huge deal.
Because it's a solid rubber. Rubber is not lightweight.
It is not.
Okay? It's not like plastic and it's not like steel. Steel is more strong, but they need to add more rubber to make it more durable.
That's exactly right. They have to make it thicker.
Yeah, they have to make it
reason.
thicker. And that's also why it bends and it kinks, because it's not flexible. I mean, literally. If you could pick a worse material, I don't know it's possible than rubber.
No. Well, and if you think about it, it gets brittle and cold in the wintertime, you know.
Cracks.
It cracks. I mean, and it gets a memory. In fact, I'll show you a really great example of that. In front of me right here on the floor, we've got 2 different hose reels, okay? Now, each one of those, I think, is that 100 or 125, Mikey? 125. Okay, so take a look at the difference right there. The rubber hose, the green hose, is only 100 feet, okay? Look at the mess that is on there. The black hose, the HydroSteel that you're buying right now, that's 125 feet. There's actually 25 more feet on there, and you can see how nice that is. And Guy, right in the middle there, that's 100 feet of our HydroSteel hose in a flower pot.
Yeah, and by the way, if you get a close-up of this garden hose.
Oh, look at it, it's nasty.
It's got mold on it.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta get in real close. You'll see there is mold on that garden hose, all right, that's grown right into it.
And it's stiff.
And it's stiff as a board.
Yeah, look at that.
And again, there's no stabilizing collar.
Nope.
Here, like we have on our hose.
Yep.
And that's a big difference, and I'm glad you brought up our seniors, because, heck, I've had times when, when you get an older hose, it's hard to get the attachments
No,
on
it really is.
because you have no
I have to
grip.
break out the pliers sometimes just to do that.
With this, because I can screw everything on and take it right off.
Easy peasy.
Very easily.
Yeah.
See? And now that's on there nice and tight. By the way, you are getting the fireman's hose.
You get both of these.
Greatest thing ever invented.
Both these now. I love those.
Yeah, and this will take your regular 60 to 80 PSI and turn it up to 500 PSI.
Well, actually, no. What it is this. It's that it can take up to 500 PSI before it bursts. Without bursting. And that's a big deal. And it's funny because remember how we showed you the video a minute ago, the animation that shows you the steel windings on the inside of this. When you look at that, does it seem familiar to anybody out there? Does it seem like something you've seen before? Maybe on the back of your washing machine?
Yeah.
Maybe on the back of your dishwasher? Plumbers use those in situations where there's going to be high pressure because they don't want them to blow out.
Right.
I mean, like you were talking about the hose blowing out and your water bill being huge.
Yeah.
If that happens on your washer, your house is going to flood. That's why when they made the HydroSteel hose, they said, you know what? We're going to put that metal winding inside of it, that 304 stainless steel, to give it that 500 PSI rating. Your house is putting out maybe 60 at the absolute most. Maybe.
Right.
If you're doing well. So this is almost 10 times as much pressure that it can handle.
And having the 2 sprayers makes it a heck of a lot easier than putting your thumb over the end of the thing like most people do, which is crazy. You know why they do that? Because they can't get the attachment.
Because they get the attachment.
Because it's too hard to
funny
screw
you say
on.
that. It's funny you say that because I see a lot of people do that where they're walking around and you just put your thumb over the end of the hose to get it to spray like that. And it's because you can't get the attachment on, you can't get the attachment off. With your HydroSteel, not a problem because you do have that collar around the top of it. And look at that. Look at the way it goes through the tree right there. I'm telling you though, I learned my lesson lesson with the steel hose, the all steel hoses with my the pilings on my house, because dragging those around, boy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you don't notice it.
No, they're like little saw teeth.
They're like
They
little
kinda cut
saw
through.
teeth when you go through there.
So I'm going to update you, Rob. 75 foot is gone.
Oh.
100 foot, how many left? 700 left in the 100 foot. Most popular is the 125. We have a little bit more of that.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if you always buy the larger hose.
the biggest one you can.
The difference in price is $10, but the difference in frustration when you're washing your car and you bought a hose that doesn't reach. Because at my house was built in the 30s, and I don't even know when they installed the little bibs on the side of the house.
Yeah.
But they're on the side, like between the neighbor's house and not the driveway side.
So you got to go all the way around. My house is the same way. I have them on one side of the house, and I got to go all the way around the house. Well, I'm going to show you something else too about this. Now, I showed you how this is 100 feet.